All right, so welcome to my TED Talk. This is Shay Breon Howard, aka Shay Breon the Advocate, and I intend to let you know how my PTSD has started dealing with sickle cell and terrible hospital treatment. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop into it. Let's get started. My first real issue came when I died, when I almost died when I was 13 years old. I had acute chest syndrome. It almost took me out. It did. I had to literally pivot. I went from going to Cedars-Sinai Hospital. That was my main hospital. That's where I had all my appointments. And I had to change to Children's Hospital. I went from going a couple of medications daily to 6 pills just from one medication and a whole list of other medications. I was on chronic blood transfusions every 3 weeks. I would have to go and get blood transfusions, which caused a whole bunch of irreparable damage, but we're not going to get into that right now. We're going to stay focused, right? To put a long story longer, I truly felt like I was dying. I did. And that was the first time in my life I actually felt sick, felt terminal, felt like I didn't have much longer. And so I literally went to my grandmother and my aunt crying and telling them I just could not stand to be on hydroxyurea any longer. I couldn't stand to do the chronic transfusions any longer. I felt like it was doing more harm than good. I felt like it was just a terrible situation that I needed a complete change from. And so when we went to Children's Hospital for my appointment, my grandmother brought up these issues. Mind you, we had been trying to ask them to kind of scale me back because I was on so many medications. They didn't want to do so. So at this point, my grandmother went to the appointment with all intentions on telling them to take me off of all of the medications and stop the treatment. And she did. And they didn't appreciate that. They actually threatened to call CPS on her for medical neglect. Well, mind you, she was doing what I begged her, basically, to do, which was to stop all of this because I wasn't feeling any better. I felt worse. And, my mother had passed away a few years prior when I was 7 from complications of sickle cell. So at this point, my grandmother just wanted to keep me alive, and she just listened to me versus listening to the doctors who was telling her the exact opposite, that these things were keeping me alive, and I'm telling her I don't feel that way. And she stuck to her guns and took me off of everything. They tried to, threaten to call CPS, take me away, but they didn't because my grandmother was a great guardian. She was a great parent, and I just feel like that was just the start of a trauma for me because to try to take me away from my mother's mother, the very person who loved me just as much as my mom loved me, and all because she wanted to listen to me and try to see if this would actually make a difference, I feel was really traumatic for me at that time. But I always thank her because I do to this day feel that if she had not taken me off that medication, I would not be here today. I'm 100% sure of that. So that is part 1. I hope you can join me for the rest of this journey. I have so many other parts, and stay tuned for the next one. Don't forget to start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Until next time, folks, peace.